Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and take a look at all the things involved in actually unwrapping our character here. What we have so far is obviously we have a model and we have a basic color scheme applied to them. But this is not where we want to end the texturing process. Now, I mean, if we were going for this kind of look with just simple colors, then obviously we could stop here, but this is not as far as we want to take it. So we need to go ahead and take a look at the real way of texturing this guy. A couple of things I want to take a look at here before we get started. If we go to our material editor, we see we have all the materials the way that we had it before. I want you to go to Utilities and then reset the material editor slots. So now we're back down to a brand new empty material editor. And with the eyedropper here, just go ahead and click that and then click on the mesh. And this apparently was the active material. And as we can see, we have all of the current materials, all of the material slots, all 17 of them. And so here is, like we talked about in the modeling, if we wanted to play around with color schemes, like if I didn't like the orange for the gloves, I could come in here and pick anything that I wanted. Let's see if there's anything that stands out to me real quick. I think orange is still alright. So anyway, so here we have the multi-sub, and I'm going to go ahead and call this original colors. And I'm going to get a new slot right here and click on the diffuse map channel, and we're going to put a checker in there. I'm going to go ahead and tile this 40 by 40 and apply it to our character and hit show. So as we can see, we've got it applied, but we don't have any mapping coordinates. Max can't figure out how it wants to map all these areas, and that's where we come in. So go ahead and I'm going to get rid of the edible poly, and what we're going to do is we're basically going to go through our character, and we're going to lay out the mapping coordinates for our guy piece by piece. And one of the things that we're going to do now, I want to show you, if we go to our modifier list right here and we right click, we see we've got a lot of presets. If we go, say we go to the UV coordinate modifiers and then right click and go show buttons, these are all modifiers from this list that have to do with creating coordinates. And you see we have our UV unwrap right here, our UV map. But what I want to do is I want to set up something a little without, we don't need all of these. So right click again, and we'll go to configure. And well, the only thing I want is these two. So I'm just going to take the total buttons, and I can take it down to 1. Let's do it like that. And if we scroll down, and under right here, I'll go ahead and drag that over here, and we'll call this Unwrapper or whatever. It's just going to be our own personal one. So hit OK, and as you can see, there it is, sitting out there in all of its glory, waiting on us. So I'm just going to leave it like that for now. because we're going to be adding this a lot as we go. So go ahead and apply it. First thing you see, these green lines. I'm going to pull this off. These are the map seams. Just go ahead and unclick them and don't worry about them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our face and we're going to unwrap this guy. We're going to select on everything that we are going to need to unwrap. And the first thing that I'm going to do, go into face mode here. And as you see, the only tool that we have possibility of using is our select tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select on, pull this off, I'm going to select on his lips. I'm going to select on these guys first because this is really one of the more complicated areas to deal with, and it really is going to end up being an issue for us because we have these inside polygons that we're going to have to deal with later. But now I'm thinking about it, thinking that what we might just do here is just do it as quick and easy as we can, just so you get the point. So if we let's go to our material editor, and if we look at our original colors and the skin, which his face and his chest and everything was blue, it's on material ID 8, and we can access that by coming right here, select material ID. I'm going to type in 8 and hit select. And as you can see, that is selecting everything that was blue on him. And now we're just going to basically use, I'm going to come and change, we'll leave this one like that for now. But I'm going to turn off ignore back facing and hold Alt, and we're just going to deselect. And I'm going to turn on our wireframe so I can come in here and see which ones I want to deselect. Okay, so all I have selected is his face. Really don't have anything to do with his neck at the moment. I think I'm actually going to get rid of these as well. So that's literally just his face. And I'll just get rid of these two. Okay, so now we have the face, and as you can see, we have the eye polygons as well. So I'm going to have to get rid of those, deselect those two, and I'm going to use the paint selection for this one. And it's just real easy. I can see I deselected something that I wanted. Same thing there. So as you can see, the only thing that I'm focused on is getting the eyelids. All those polygons that are actually in the eye cavity, we're not even going to worry about. Okay, and it looks like I got all of them. So there's his face. Okay, now let's pull this back out, and we're going to do cylindrical, and I'm going to hit fit. Okay, F3 to go back into smooth, and you can see that we have our checkerboard, and it's flowing pretty nicely all across the mesh. There's just a couple of little problem areas, but one of the things I want to show you here is we're in sub-object mode, and we're in cylinder, and as you can see on the cylinder, there's this green line right here on the gizmo. that actually represents where the seam is going to be, and where we want that seam to be, I'll rotate this, we want that seam to be right here in the back. So that's where it's going to actually pull away and unfold from, is back there. If we had it up here in the front, then it would pull away from his nose, but that's not what we want. So we want to be pulling away from back here. Now, so the seam is in the right place. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my scale tool, and I can see that these checkerboard patterns are elongated. They're not square like they should be. So I'll use my scale tool and whoops, I'll scale this up just on the Z, and you see it's getting a little better. They're looking more like squares now. There we go, and I can tell that the checkerboard is flowing quite nicely across his face. It's looking really good, pretty even. We got some issues down here, but all in all, it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to turn off cylindrical and then come up to parameters and go into edit. Now this is our edit UV window, and as you can see, I can now move this off, and I want to go view, turn off show grid, and view, turn off show map. So there is our character's face unwrapped. It's looking pretty good. As you can see, this looks very much like his face and would be very easy for us to paint the texture on, because it resembles what we were expecting to see so well. All of this, I'm going to select on all this, represents everything else that we have in Unwrapped. So I'm just going to move that off to the side, and I'm going to focus on this for a minute. So some of the things that we need to come in here and clean up, if we take a look at our selection mode, so I'm going to hit options here. Go ahead and check the constant update, so that when we move things in here, we can actually see it update in our viewport immediately. And go into vertice mode. Some of the things that we need to do is things like this. We just want to come in here and kind of straighten this out. I'm going to go to our move tool, and we just want to kind of fix the arrangement of these polygons, make sure that none of them are crossing over. Like right here, these guys are kind of all over the place, so we just want to straighten them out. And it's going to make a big deal down the road, especially if we want to get really complicated with this character later on. Excuse me. So I'm just going to go through and make sure that none of these vertices are overlapping. We see we've got some issues with the mouth, so I'm just going to finish going through the eye here, and just making sure everything's gonna look right. Straighten those out, and as you can see, move this around, we can see how it's affecting the mesh over here. Okay, so we see we got some issues here. The green line obviously represents the seam, so I'm going to pull these out. Let's see, there's his eyebrow. So I just want to arrange these so that I can see kind of all the polygons. So when we paint the texture on them, nothing's being covered up by anything else. Let's see. So I mean, it takes some time to get used to it, but the more time you spend messing with it, the easier it's gonna work out. And one of the things you want to kind of keep in mind with this, since we're using our checkerboard pattern here, the more checkers you see, the higher the resolution. The bigger the checkers, the lower the resolution. For example, if I select on all of this and I scaled it way up, we're seeing a whole lot more, and that means that our resolution for our texture is going to be really high, which would be a good thing. And if we bring it down small, we don't see as many, so that means our resolution is very small, which would be a bad thing. So we're just gonna, and the size really doesn't matter right now. Everything has to go inside this square before we're done. So we can just move it over here if we want to for now. The main thing that we want to look at is just the nice even distribution of our checkerboard all around the face, and it's looking pretty good. We have some minor issues underneath the jaw here, and that's coming from the fact that these polygons are just the way that they're being distributed. So you see there, everything's crunched in right here because look at this polygon, and this long polygon is this polygon right here, so it's not really conforming the way that it should be. So I'm just going to try and fix that a little bit. I'm not going to be able to get it dead on the money. We just want to try to find something that's going to work for us. See, that's so underneath the jaw here. There's really not much no point in really worrying with it at the moment, because I mean, how often are we really going to see under there? How important is that texture? So I'm just going to try to mimic what I did on this side. Okay, and as far as his mouth goes, there's so much going on in here that we could really spend a lot of time trying to resolve these issues. Well, let's just give it a try real quick. Okay, you can see where some of these polygons are going, and by just coming in here and closing the gap on some of these, it can start to make sense. Okay, I can see that's out here on the surface. remembering that the green polygon represents, or the green line represent the edge. And I can see we've got some issues. Like that one right there. So let me just continue on. Just try to clean this up as best I can. Try to make sense of things. Remember, these are the polygons that represent the front lip and how it curves inside to go inside the mouth. Alright, I'm gonna go break. I can see those belong there. Okay, these are down here, up there, down here. There we go. I'll select those and weld. And as you can see, when we select on one, they all turn blue. That means that they are actually the same vertice. So I'm going to select these guys, weld. There we go. Now I can clearly see what's going on. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is just go back, and now that everything's kind of untangled, I can pull these guys. It's where they're basically right on top of each other again. Okay. Again, always wanting to do the best we can to make sure that everything's making sense with our checker pattern. So I'll just finish this up right here. Okay, it's good enough. Let's see. Still want this to kind of resemble the lips, so we know how to paint them. Okay, if I wanted to, I can come in here and select these vertices, go Tools, Relax, Apply. Oop, that did not do good, so undo. I'll actually just leave that alone. It actually doesn't look too bad. I think I will do the nose though. Let's relax them a little bit. Undo. I think that might actually be pretty good on their own too. I could even the space out on these guys a little bit. Just to reduce the stretching on the nose. And I think that the head is pretty well unwrapped. No vertices overlapping each other. Everything's looking pretty clean. So we'll go ahead and turn on select element and select on this whole face again. We can now close this window. And as we can see, we have our face unwrapped. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to go collapse all and just hit yes. Now we're back down to editable poly, and I'm going to go into polygon mode, and you'll see that those same polygons are already selected. Now what we're going to do is come down here and we're going to say hide selected. So basically, as we finish unwrapping the character, we're going to hide the polygons so we can not have as much going on to look at, and just makes things a little easier for us. So click off, make sure nothing's selected. Very important that nothing's selected at this level when we apply modifiers, otherwise it's just going to be applied to whatever's selected. So just click a couple times, make sure nothing's selected, get out of polygon mode, apply our unwrap, and if we go to edit, we see our face is still there. Okay, even though we're not seeing it, the mesh, it's still there because we didn't get rid of those polygons, we just hid them. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into face, and now I'm just going to go ahead and pick on this area, do the top of his head. Okay, just give a quick look in wireframe. Make sure you didn't accidentally select something like I did right there, and just select off of it. Okay, let's see, I selected on those polygons somehow. Okay, it looks like quick pass over. Okay, this one's gonna be pretty simple. We'll just do a quick planar map and best align. Click off, and now we'll go into our edit, and there's the top of his head. And looking at this, yeah, that's the back of his head. So I'm going to, let's go back F3. So those are a lot of pixels, a lot of checkers we're looking at, so that means in relationship to this one, this could probably come down in size a little bit. The only thing that we are looking for here is just, relative size. That's good. We can move it inside here or leave it where it is, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to select it, close, that piece is done. So we're now going to collapse all, go into polygon mode, and we see that it's selected again. We'll come down here, hide selected, click off to make sure nothing's selected, and we can continue on our way. Let me see, everything's still unwrapped for us. So basically we just follow this procedure on and around for the whole guy here. I'm going to do one more piece before we go ahead and wrap this one up, and it's going to be this neck area. So I'm just going to come in here and use, let's go into face. Okay. And let's turn off ignore back facing. I'll just turn it back on. Probably just going to be easier just to come right through. And what I'm going to do, what I'm going to select is going to be basically his entire neck area. I don't want those. I guess we can leave that one. Okay, so let's go into wireframe, make sure we don't have anything selected that we shouldn't. Whoa. Undo. Just select off of those. Okay. So let's we have basically just that neck. Alright, looking good. And I'm pretty sure we didn't select on anything else. I don't see anything else selected, so I think that is a pretty safe bet that we didn't. We don't have anything else selected, so I think for this one again, the cylinder is going to work. So click cylinder, hit fit. Let's see how that's working out. Use our scale. There are some issues that I can see. Try spherical. Spherical's not bad. Looks pretty good back here. Let's try pelt. And go best align. You know what? I want to do cylindrical. So again, we want to look for this green line. And I'm going to turn off this one. So this green line, we want it to be back here. And turn this off so we can get some accurate rotations here. Get these dead on the money. Okay. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so we have the green line back here. I'm going to move this down. And let's see. So we got squares, so I don't think it's going to kill us to go with it as it is. So let's go ahead and turn this off. Go edit. And as you can see, there's his neck. And again, I'm going to turn these off so we can just see what we've got going on. And okay, so you can see we definitely have some issues, so let's go in here and we just start straightening these guys out like we did before. This is his, those polygons are right around his clavicle. So we're just gonna straighten these out as best we can. These guys could probably come in. These are okay, so those are all those. And what we could do is select on all of these, and just to see how it looks, let's go to our relax tools, relax. Let's go relax by face angles, and let's just see what happens. And it looks pretty good. Seems pretty uniform. I don't really see any stretching, so I think that just one time worked out pretty good for us. Okay, so select element, and we can now move this, over here somewhere. And let's see. Scale these down a little bit. Just trying to keep a visual idea in my mind how big they were. But I think that looks pretty good. So again, right click, collapse all, go into polygon, and hide selected. Click off just to be sure. So our head's done. Now we just continue on, and we'll do that in the next segment. But as you're waiting for me to do the next segment, go ahead and follow that same concept and start unwrapping it on your own if you want to. It's just a matter of using the tools that you have. Like the top of the hat planer was fine. The head, the neck, cylindrical worked out pretty well. It's just a matter of looking at the area that you're trying to unwrap, breaking it into the most logical situation. Don't try to just select on everything and unwrap this entire character at once, because it's just not going to happen. And you want to remember that your the goal is for all these pieces, all these pieces you're going to have to go into Photoshop and paint on them. So you want to keep that in mind too. So go ahead and save your file. I'm going to save as texture 1, and I've already just go and replace my copy. So the next one we'll go ahead and pick up, and we'll just continue on doing what we're doing, but I want you to go ahead and try doing it as you wait on me. So I'll see you next time.